Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So today I'm just gonna show you a little bit about what's been going on with this Strat. A while back I threw some hot rail humbucker pickups in this thing that are coil splitting capable. And I've tried wiring them just as single coils. I've wired them just as humbuckers. And I've been waiting for quite a while to get the switches in order to have each one off of its own independent switch. Using the coil tapping pots is fine. You can do that, not a big deal. A lot of people do. And but not too many people actually throw 3 coil splitting humbuckers in. Now, my Epiphone SG has coil splitting humbuckers, so they each have their own independent volume control, tone control, and of course they're pull pots, right? Well, I didn't want to do pull pot system and then spend a bunch of money on pots, and you only have a certain amount of depth to play with too inside the Strat, and I wasn't sure about do I really have enough depth for that, and is it really worth the expense when I can get these switches so cheap? And all I had to do is figure out the best place to drill the holes. And what happened was I got one that is just barely offset, which is actually my bridge switch. And I don't mind the little bit of an offset there either. It doesn't actually bother me because now with having the switches independent too, I can mix things up rather quickly and easily the way I want to. So in the down position where they are now, it's for single coil mode. And my wireless just died. How about that? Yeah, it did. We're going to have to switch the wireless over. Well, I guess I've been using them too much today. All right. Back in business. Got lots of wireless units kicking around. So what I want to do is show you guys the difference in sound with these pickups. Now these are the hot rails or dual humbuckers that I picked up from banggood.com, and I got a package of 4 pickups for $24 with free shipping. Now that's Canadian dollars too, which I think is a really good deal, and they are wax potted pickups too, which is even better. So I'm going to just go on the clean tone for now because you're going to hear the most difference on the clean tone between single coil and humbucker pickups. So like I said, right now we're on single coil on the bridge. So now I'm going to flip the switch. So now it's on. Now I'm in humbucker mode. A little more punchy, a little more volume that comes out. More high pitch, that's your single coil. So there's single and humbucker, so this will be the single in the middle. Now I'll just go single to humbucker. Now the middle position on humbucker. Middle position single coil. So middle and neck, and we're going to put the neck as a single. And actually, you know what? We'll leave them both as singles first. Now humbucker for the middle and single for the neck. Now just the neck pickup here alone as a single coil. And as a humbucker. Okay, so I'm gonna turn on my my Widowmaker distortion pedal. I really love this pedal. Just as a single coil on the bridge. And as a humbucker. So you don't hear a whole ton of difference. I think my low E string went out of tune. It's still settling in. I did all this work today, brand new strings, and things are still settling in a bit, so I'm going to be whacked out of tune pretty easy for a couple of rounds anyway. Yeah, the E was down low. Yeah, everything else seems to be okay. Anyway, so yeah, they're pretty good pickups. I really like them. And now that I've got them so I can split them between single and humbucker mode, it does make a difference. And there are pedal effects where you really won't notice a lot of difference, like the Widowmaker. But on something like a light overdrive pedal, or like even the Boss DS1 distortion pedal, it's pretty tinny as it is, you will notice, you know, differences between running it as a single as opposed to a humbucker pickup. And they're great, you know, and it's kind of nice to be able to have best of both worlds in one guitar. And I like the fact, too, that if I want to, I can go single coil, you know, and to a humbucker. And then just even alternate them, humbucker, single coil. So you can generate a lot of tones that normally you wouldn't be able to before. You know, so it is kind of an idea that if you want the rockability or metal ability for humbucker tones, and then still have your Strat, then definitely dual rail humbuckers are the way to go. Now, not necessarily maybe this one's. Maybe you want to see more Duncans if they have them, or other companies. There's a lot of companies making these things, and they're really not that hard to wire up. And a lot of the wiring diagrams you're going to find on like a Google search are going to be very much the same for the most part, depending on how you're doing it. And the print I went off of, it only had supported the middle pickup actually being the humbucker. And because I was like, okay, I had everything wired, and I was like, something ain't working here, you know. I mean, I was expecting a tonal difference and a volume difference, and it was a very drastic difference when I first hooked everything up. And I was like, well, that's not right. I'm missing something here, you know, because when you first wire these up, all your white wires go to your 5-way switch, and then you've got left over a red and green wire. And if you separate them, technically you would be single coil, right? And then you tie them together, you're definitely a humbucker, and you could tell that, oh, that's some pretty high output, right? But as soon as you disconnect those wires, yeah, it does lower stuff a lot, but so much that you'd have to crank the crap out of your amp to get anything out of them. So it's like, okay, there's something missing here. Wiring, we're missing some wiring. So I checked out, and I just followed the diagram on the single humbucker and just followed it for all three. So what happens is, the way I have these switches in, down would be off, so single coil. And all the green wires, there's a green wire for each switch and a red wire for each switch. And the green wire you want to leave that alone. The red wire is where you're going to hook a ground wire, and so you're going to need 3 ground wires, and you're going to tie them all together at one end and solder them onto your volume control pot. And that's how you're going to control between single coil and your humbucker. So when your switch is off, it's single coil, and you've got that positive and negative connectivity, right? Because you have to have a ground and a live. In this case, you got two lives, but you need one set of those lives, one part of those lives, to create the single coil effect, right? And along with going with your switch positions for the other live, right? And so anyways, make sure that all your red wires are on the middle tab of the switches, right? Because your on and off switches, these micro switches, have 3 tabs. And so the middle tab is where you're going to have your red wire, and you're going to put a ground wire on there as well with that wire. And those 3 tie to ground onto the volume control pot. And then your greens, you put all your green wires on. That's all that goes on there. And then all your whites go to the corresponding switches. I've also arranged these too so that they follow my 5-way switch. So my switch is all the way down at the bottom. That's my bridge. Well, this is my bridge here down at the bottom switch. This is going to be my bridge pickup. Okay, and then the middle is the middle, and so on. And then when you mix them, it'll just be, you know, have this one up and maybe this one down and maybe have this one up. But then you're on bridge and middle. And you're good to rock and roll. So yeah, the wiring diagram, just, you know, if you don't find a wiring diagram that supports 3 coil tappers, just find any wire diagram for any hot rail pickup. The wire color code should be the same for the larger majority of them out there. I know it was the same for this one. And I just followed that middle pickup selection that was on the diagram, and then did all 3 the same, but without using a coil tapper pot. Because I like I said, it's just like, can I justify the extra money? Do I have the room? You know, I wasn't quite sure. And micro switches cost me like nothing. They were peanuts. I got them from Bang Good, a pack of 10 of them for a couple of bucks, literally, and with free shipping. And they showed up in the mail today, so I was like, good, I got a project to do. And so I've been waiting for these switches so I could do this. And it worked out great. So hopefully the video, you can hear the difference of what's going on with the different tones. But like I said, we're on clean tone right now. You hear that in and out? That's the difference. So we'll go to the middle. It's in the single coil. It's not a massive difference between a single and a humbucker. Neck. Where you will hear the most effective difference is actually on the bridge. You'll hear it the most there, but you'll hear it, you know. So there you go, and so that's our dual rail humbuckers. I got a couple more mods left to do this guitar. I actually want to put some black tuners on this thing. If I can find a black bridge, I may do that as well. Black screws on the pickguard. I'm going to leave the pickguard the way it is because I like the white pickguard with the black. And, you know, you need something to offset as well with the sunburst and whatnot, or whatever you want to call this burst design. But antique burst, you know. And that E string went out again, I think. I also set my bridge up as a floater on this thing too. So between that and having the neck having to pull back up and everything, because I had all the strings off and, you know, type of thing. It's going to take a day or two for things to set back up to normal again. Which is not a big deal. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and have fun playing guitar. And if you're gonna do some mods, like I said, look up those prints. They're really easy to follow. You really can't go wrong. But the prints do not tell you about the ground wires with the red wires to the grounding pot. That is one thing you're gonna have to make sure of to do. And of course, all your white wires are gonna go to your 5-way or 3-way switch, and et cetera, et cetera. And like I said, these micro switches, you can get them at Banggood. They're just an on and off switch with 3 poles. And you need to use the center pole and one of the outside poles, and then just decide which way you want for, on or off type of thing, because it is only 2 wires on 2 poles. Well, technically 3 wires between 2 poles. Your middle poles have, 2 wires, and then you got your single greens on the other poles. So then you can just wire it any way you want, and away you go, and Jake's your uncle. So anyways, thanks, and see you later. Ciao.